Visiting this library today only deepened my belief that libraries are truly magical places, offering something for everyone, from toddlers to lifelong learners. She is the woman who rose from scandal to sit on the glittering throne of queen. But beneath the tiaras and polished smiles, Camilla has carried a truth she can no longer hide at 77. It began on a calm evening at Clarence's house, just after a charity banquet that had gone off without a hitch. Camilla had played her role flawlessly, waving to the crowd, shaking hands, smiling for the cameras. But once the massive doors closed and the last flashbulb faded, those present said the Queen's mask slipped. With a glass of gin in hand, she sank into a chair and murmured words that froze the room, her sigh heavy with decades of strain. She was tired of pretending. She admitted she couldn't stand 3 particular royals. For years, Camilla had tried to coexist with them, all while bearing the crushing weight of tradition, public scrutiny, and her own quiet fears. Now, at this stage in life, the truth is breaking through the palace's carefully maintained facade. Insiders insist it wasn't a calculated confession, but a rare glimpse into the mind of a queen who fought for every scrap of respect she now holds. Her focus was never truly on the crown. It was about survival, proving she could endure the public's fury after Diana's death, the whispers about being the other woman, and the icy stares from within the family. But some wounds never close. Resentments can fester in silence, fed by years of being overlooked, overshadowed, and reminded of her place. Some say she's jealous. Others claim it's fear. What is certain is that she keeps a mental tally, a list of those who made her path to the throne a battle, who questioned her authority, and who still shadow her every move. In an unguarded moment, Camilla allegedly revealed the names of the 3. Today, we uncover the truth behind that moment and the deepest fractures inside the palace. These are not petty family squabbles, but battles for power that could shape the monarchy's future. And when each identity is revealed, the weight of her words will become clear. That night at Clarence's house, the cameras were gone, the guests had been charmed, and staff moved quickly through the marble halls, clearing plates and dimming candles after yet another royal dinner. But in a small sitting room, long past midnight, Camilla, still in her diamond necklace and pearl-shimmering gown, was not celebrating. As the long-time attendant tidied the room, she spoke quietly, but with an edge sharp enough to slice through the stillness. Her gaze lingered on the darkened window, where her own reflection stared back, a woman who had fought to stand by the man she loved, only to find palace life colder than the public's judgment. But before we continue, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. If you just did, we truly appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the main content. These 3. At that moment, the aide froze, realizing they were witnessing something rare. A crack in the royal armor of a woman who had spent decades forcing smiles and offering gracious nods at events that often felt like battles fought in silk gloves. Camilla's path to becoming queen had never been easy. She had endured hushed gossip behind closed doors, the sharp judgment of a public that once saw her as the villain in Diana's story, and the cool indifference of royal relatives who never truly welcomed her. She had survived scandals, hidden her tears, and lived with the isolation that often comes with power. But on that night, something shifted. Those close to her believe it was the culmination of years of subtle slights, of being overshadowed again and again, and of watching the public embrace Kate's effortless elegance, while Camilla's presence was met only with polite applause. It was the sting of seeing William take on his role with the people's full support, yet never losing sight of the mother he had lost. A mother whose memory hung in the air like a ghost whenever Camilla tried to move forward. And then there was Princess Anne, whose quiet but constant judgment had followed Camilla for decades, leaving her feeling like an outsider in her own family. The aide was struck not only by Camilla's words, but by the look on her face, a mix of exhaustion, resignation, and restrained anger with nowhere to go. Once spoken, those words could never be taken back. And though the aide promised themselves they would keep them secret, the weight was too heavy to bear alone. Whispers began circulating within the inner circle. Camilla has a list, some said. She's finally revealed the people she can't stand. The palace, long a fortress of hidden resentments, buzzed with speculation. Who were the 3 royals she disliked enough to break her years of silence? Some thought it a lapse in control. Others believed it was the purest moment of honesty. One thing was certain. Camilla had reached her breaking point. The carefully maintained image of the queen, smiling, supportive, unflappable, had fractured, revealing a woman weary of being overshadowed, labeled the other woman, and pretending not to notice that the family she had fought to join had never fully embraced her. That night, with a gin in hand, she let out the truth she had kept buried for so long, and as the rumors spread, one question echoed through the halls. Who were the 3? Why, after all these years, was Camilla ready to make it known? According to palace insiders, the first name on Camilla's unspoken list is Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. Many would find that hard to believe. After all, Kate has always projected poise, kindness, and a steadfast devotion to the family she married into. But to Camilla, Kate represents everything she will never be. It's not about crowns or status, it's about presence. Whenever Kate enters a room, she seems to light it up, drawing genuine smiles from the crowd and affection from the public in a way Camilla has never been able to match. Kate doesn't need to try. It just happens. Those close to the royals say this bothers Camilla more than she would ever admit. At formal events, staff have picked up on a subtle tension when the 2 women are together. While the cameras capture their polite exchanges, those nearby notice Camilla's fleeting glances when cheers grow louder as Kate approaches the crowd. They've seen her smile stiffen when Charles looks at Kate with unmistakable pride, discussing her upcoming initiatives as the future queen. Every warm handshake Kate gives, every photo in which her natural grace shines, reminds Camilla that she will always be standing in Diana's shadow, and now in Kate's glow. Camilla isn't only worried about public affection, but about influence. Sources say Charles often seeks Kate's counsel, trusting her instincts on matters that shape the family's public image and charitable direction. Some believe Charles sees in Kate the steadiness and quiet strength that once defined Diana, and that he relies on her insight to guide the monarchy's path forward. Palace staff say each of these moments chips away at Camilla's sense of influence and position beside Charles. Small incidents, trivial on their own, form a pattern of mounting tension. At a garden party last spring, Kate's arrival completely shifted the crowd's focus. Guests and photographers surrounded her while Camilla stood quietly off to the side, waiting for her turn to move forward. At another event, Kate's natural rapport with children drew warm smiles and laughter, while Camilla's attempts to join in seemed overlooked. Standing next to Kate's effortless warmth, her presence almost disappeared. To Camilla, Kate embodies what she can never reclaim: public trust, unwavering devotion, and the picture-perfect image of a princess who won hearts without scandal. Her resentment toward Kate comes from constant comparisons, an unspoken rivalry she never asked for but can't escape. In private, her frustration is less about personal dislike and more about what Kate symbolizes: the monarchy's future, a future that will one day be Kate's alongside William. Watching from the sidelines, Camilla sees her reign as a short chapter before the modern royal era begins. For this reason, Kate tops Camilla's quiet list, the princess who outshines her without even trying. And if Kate represents the future, William represents the authority she can't influence. It's well known in royal circles that Camilla and William have always had a complicated relationship, their polite exchanges covering a deep, unspoken strain. William's devotion to his mother's memory shapes his every move, influencing his view of the monarchy and of Camilla. To him, she is a living reminder of his mother's pain, a face tied to the years of sorrow he witnessed as a child. Though he remains outwardly respectful, those close to him say he keeps her at a distance, never letting her occupy spaces that once belonged to Diana. Camilla, in turn, is frustrated by his quiet resistance. She has spent years trying to earn her place in the family, but while she has reached an uneasy truce with Harry, William remains distant. His fierce protection of his mother's legacy and of his family's future feels to her like a wall she can't scale. Even as queen, she feels his influence overshadow her. His presence at events, his confident speeches, and the public's view of him as the rightful future of the monarchy all serve as reminders that her time is temporary. William will inherit the crown, and with it the power to shape how history remembers her. Sources say their tensions have nearly boiled over on several occasions. Staff have noted William's dismissive tone toward her suggestions in private family meetings, explaining that his focus is on the institution, not her comfort. At Christmas gatherings, observers have seen him keep conversations brief before turning to join Kate or play with his children, leaving Camilla standing with her drink, watching the family that will soon define the monarchy. Her frustration with William is as much about what's coming as it is about what's past. She fears that once Charles is gone, William will restrict her role and make sure her reign is remembered as little more than a footnote. While Diana's legacy continues under William, Camilla worries her own will vanish. In her eyes, William is the heir she can't sway, the future king who could bring her chapter to a close. Every courteous look from him in public feels like a reminder that his respect is formal, not heartfelt, and that his loyalty will always be to the mother he lost and the family he's determined to protect. So when her frustration spilled over that night, William's name came second. A son she could never mold, a prince who would never see her as anything more than a symbol of the past. And if Kate stands for the future and William for the power she can't direct, then Princess Anne is the unshakable wall she's faced for decades. With her sharp wit, unyielding will, and fierce sense of duty, Anne has never bowed to anyone, including Camilla, queen or not. Those close to the palace believe Anne's dislike for Camilla dates back to the very beginning. Before Charles and Camilla were married, Anne was said to have strong feelings about the woman who had held a place in her brother's heart for decades. Fiercely protective of tradition and the family's reputation, Anne reportedly saw Camilla as a disruptor, a figure tied to some of the royal family's most humiliating chapters. Anne has always valued hard work and quiet service over titles and glamour. She attends engagements without fuss, often wearing the same outfits multiple times, greeting everyone from heads of state to farmers, and leaving without seeking recognition. Camilla's climb to prominence through scandal was, in Anne's eyes, everything the family should have avoided. Though Anne has remained composed in public, her coolness toward Camilla has been an open secret. For Camilla, it has been a constant source of unease. In her early years within the family, she often found herself left out of Anne's close circle. At family gatherings, Anne would offer polite nods rather than genuine warmth, speaking to Camilla only when necessary and never sharing the easy small talk she gave to others. At formal events, Anne's brisk, no-nonsense presence could make Camilla's attempts at projecting queenly authority feel diminished, leaving her on the fringes even in her own sphere. The tension has not only been personal. Behind the scenes, Anne and Camilla have clashed over royal patronages and charitable priorities. With decades invested in her causes, Anne is fiercely protective of the organizations she supports. When Camilla has tried to modernize or take on certain initiatives, Anne has sometimes pushed back. Staff have quietly noted the frosty moments in meetings when Camilla's suggestions met with Anne's firm rebuttals, often ending with a single look that made it clear where Camilla stood. Anne's bond with her brother Charles adds another layer. While Charles has worked tirelessly to see Camilla accepted, Anne's silent resistance is a constant reminder that not everyone in the family believes she deserves her place. Camilla knows Anne's opinion matters to Charles, and even if he won't openly side with his sister, the weight of Anne's disapproval lingers in the background, casting a shadow over her reign. At 77, Camilla has come to terms with much: public criticism, family rifts, and the endless comparisons to Diana. But Anne's unwavering stance has remained a thorn she cannot remove. Even as queen, she knows she will never command Anne's respect. So, on that night when Camilla finally let her guard down, Anne's name was the third to surface. Not from jealousy, but from years of frustration with a woman who has never welcomed her, never yielded to her, and never hidden her belief that Camilla does not truly belong. In Anne, Camilla sees the conscience of the royal family, unyielding, watchful, and forever judging her place. Behind the walls of Clarence's house, far from the cameras and rehearsed smiles, Camilla's whispered list of 3 was more than a late-night outburst. It was an admission of fear, regret, and old wounds that had never healed beneath the polished surface. Kate, William, and Anne, pillars of the monarchy's future to the public eye, steady hands guiding it forward. But to Camilla, they are the embodiment of her private battles. Kate is everything she wishes she could be in the eyes of the people, adored, admired, and untouched by scandal. She represents the fairy tale Camilla will never live, the unwavering public faith she has sought for decades but can never fully grasp. Each wave and smile Kate offers is a reminder that for some, love is freely given, while for others, it is always out of reach. William is the heir, the son who carries Diana's memory like armor, guarding his family's legacy in ways that leave no room for Camilla. She knows his influence will one day decide the monarchy's course, and she fears there will be no place for her, no gratitude for the years she stood beside Charles, and no acknowledgement of her role. His polite distance reminds her that while public reconciliation is possible, some wounds remain closed in private. And Anne is the immovable force, duty and tradition made flesh. Her cold judgment has shadowed Camilla for decades, a constant reminder that a title can be granted, but respect must be earned. One of Camilla's deepest wounds has been Anne's refusal to fully accept her, a constant reminder that after all these years, she is still seen as an outsider who disrupted the fragile balance of the royal family. Beneath the irritation lies something harder for Camilla to admit. She is afraid of being forgotten, afraid that once Charles is gone, her place will vanish like a shadow at dawn. She worries that the legacy she has fought so fiercely to build will be erased by a new generation eager to turn the page on the most turbulent chapters of royal history. She knows the public will never love her the way they love Kate, that William will never truly see her as family, and that Anne will never view her as deserving. At 77, with the weight of age and the relentless passage of time pressing in, that fear has curdled into resentment, and resentment into quiet, simmering anger. Letting go would mean admitting that the battles she fought, the scandals she endured, and the sacrifices she made to stand beside Charles were for nothing. It would mean acknowledging that the monarchy will carry on without her, guided by the very people she has come to resent, leaving her as little more than a footnote in history. So when she spoke the names of Kate, William, and Anne in the stillness of the night, it was not just a list of those she disliked. It was an unguarded admission of everything she has kept hidden for decades. A glimpse into the fears of a queen who knows that even a crown can't shield you from the shadows of your own mind. Now, as she walks the quiet corridors of Clarence's house, the truth of her final years inside the royal walls becomes harder to ignore. Each step reminds her that the future she fought for is slipping away. To the outside world, she is the smiling figure beside Charles, stepping from royal cars, waving graciously at charity events. But even in those carefully orchestrated moments, the whispers persist. Whispers that she is too weary to keep up the performance, too drained to swallow her bitterness toward Kate, William, and Anne. These closing years are about more than carrying out her royal obligations. They are about confronting the legacy she will leave behind. She knows that as Charles's health gradually declines, attention will turn even more toward William and Kate, the faces of the monarchy's future. She knows Anne's steadfast presence will remain a source of strength for the family long after she is gone, preserving the traditions Camilla once questioned. And she fears the day will come when she will walk those palace halls alone, the cheers for Kate and William echoing far beyond her reach, as the royal image shifts into a new chapter without her. For now, she clings to the role she fought so hard to claim, even if the crown she wears feels lined with thorns. She will keep walking beside Charles, keep playing her part in the royal theater, and keep wearing the mask of dignity that hides the fractures within. But the words she uttered that night will not fade. They will remain as a quiet reminder that even queens are human, capable of jealousy, fear, and the deep need to be seen and remembered. And when her story reaches its final page, it may not be defined by her public achievements, but by the private burdens she carried in a palace that was never truly hers. As the monarchy moves forward, one question will linger. Will the world ever truly understand the woman behind the crown? Or will her final chapter be written by the very royals she could never bring herself to forgive?